Interestingly, that's Prince Charles standing beside the Queen. Where's Prince Philip? Gone.
Well, you know, it's been quite the sign for those who have been wondering how Prince Philip has been doing after the various concerns about his health earlier this year and the issues surrounding his heart. He's been up front, as far as I can tell, he's been up on deck for the whole afternoon and looks as you know, vibrant as he was when he got on. For anyone of that age, he's 91 now.
Well, there seems to be no slowing down. He has relinquished some patronages, but really duties. He's been accompanying the Queen on her tour of Great Britain. It has been amazing to see how he just keeps on soldiering on.
He's a character. He always has been a character, and quite often totally unpredictable, right?
Well, and he still has the one-liners that you never manage to miss. Recently, he came across a very attractive woman who was wearing a zipper dress and turned around to her and said, well, what was it? I would get in trouble if I touched that, or something along those lines. So he's still coming out with the royal corkers. They like to say it's the royal gaps. I think they're great punchlines.
I guess at 91, they figure you're going to take a chance, right?
I think this is the Mississippi steamboat that they've been talking about.
Right. Now, as you've witnessed on some of these private vessels throughout today, and we've tried to catch a glimpse of from afar, there have been a number of parties going on, not surprisingly, as part of this day. And a little earlier, when she had the opportunity, Anne-Marie Medowig got on board one of those vessels and got a sense of what that partying is like. Here it is. 60 years on the throne, and it is, and one shouldn't read perhaps any deeper into the day than that. The celebration, in many ways, of a life, but certainly a celebration of a reign and the reaction that the people of this country have to their monarch and the people that she's also queen of, like she is the Queen of Canada, the head of state of Canada. And so a lot of reaction from various people, and we're seeing it all over the place, including online. You've got more to talk about?
Well, we've just heard that the flotilla has broken a world record for the largest parade of boats. So they were hoping to break it, so they did.
Whose record did they break?
Well, that's what I don't know. Maybe the one 350 years ago.
Yeah, it could be.
Which seems odd, because they were talking about at one point in Sydney Harbour is used to having 5,000 boats there. So interesting. Maybe it's the formation. Other things, the Havengore has moored up now, and apparently Sophie Wessex got off and said she's absolutely freezing. The fact that the Queen is braving it there is really just shows the British stoicism that she always shows.
Now, Sophie Wessex is Prince Edward's
wife. Exactly. And her daughter and son are they are on land, dry land, so she will be meeting with them, no doubt.
I'm sure a lot of people are wet and cold on this day, and but if she is, Queen Elizabeth is sticking with it. Now, she's undercover, and she's wrapped up. She put that shawl on about halfway through all this. Well, isn't that cute?
They borrowed one of the Queen's hats.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks like a kind of 1970s hat. From my vast array of
not one that you wore last week.
Memorabilia. I'm sure she'll get a chuckle out of that as it passes by the spirit of Chartwell. You know, it's funny when you look at the Thames now. You know, it's a fairly narrow river in places. It used to be twice as wide as this. Now we're talking a couple hundred years ago. But it's different now for a number of reasons, not the least of which is the fact that office buildings have gone up, they've extended shorelines, but also that the water's been dipping.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course then they put in that $1 billion for the Thames the bridge that controls the tide, of course. So
Yeah, the
that
Thames Barrier.
Yeah.
I've been out there. Did you ever watch the series MI5?
No.
Which is to try and settle the waters inside the Thames if the water starts to rise quickly, is now being used or planned to be used for reasons that have more relationship to the rising water levels because of melting ice, the Arctic, all that. So I got the full tour, including underwater. It's quite something. It's really. I can see how they shot an episode of MI5 and or Spooks as they call it here.
I know Spooks. Yeah.
We were Kira, you mentioned earlier about them playing the James Bond theme when they went by the MI6 building. Heather Hiscox wants in on this. Talk a little more about MI5, MI6. Heather?
Peter, thanks very much. Sorry, 10 meters long, the opening sequence of The World Is Not Enough. Star of the movie and one of the stars of this river pageant today, Peter.
All right, Heather, and you point that one out. I mean, this really is, excuse me, a mixture of vessels. Everything from the historic, the replica of the Golden Hind, those Dunkirk little boats, the Royal Navy battle cruiser, to a Canadian canoe, to the dragon boats from the breast cancer survivors, to something like the James Bond boat, and that's not all. My daughters would be upset if I didn't say it because they were huge fans. But remember Duran Duran?
Oh yeah.
Apparently that was some group in the 80s.
Oh yeah, some group people.
They had a big hit called Rio.
Rio, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that boat that's in Rio that had Duran Duran is in this flotilla.
Oh, her name is Rio, huh?
Her name is Rio. There you go. I haven't seen it yet, but it probably isn't decked out the way it was in that video, not in this weather.
Well, it doesn't have the boys on it for starters.
No,
That's
it doesn't
no
have
good.
the boys. The boys are getting on.
I'm surprised they're not playing in the Jubilee concert, of course.
Simon Le Bon.
Yes.
Wasn't he one of them?
Yes, John Taylor, Roger Taylor, I could go on.
Oh, apparently you can. Which leads us to the concert. We should mention the big concert tomorrow night, which we're going to broadcast on Tuesday night. It's 3 hours long, and we want to give you a good look at it. We'll have highlights tomorrow, obviously, but the 3-hour concert outside Buckingham Palace, the Victoria Memorial, which if you know anything about Buckingham Palace, whether you've been there or seen it on television, it's that giant memorial and fountain right in front of Buckingham Palace. They got that all covered up. They're going to do the stage show right there. A lot of big names, Paul McCartney, Elton John, variety of others are in the concert. And there's even one band, is it Madness?
Yes. Yes.
They're going to, Our House, I think, kind of a one-hit wonder, right?
No, they're not. Madness is a great Brit band. Yeah, but
maybe
Our House is a song that
maybe
everyone
internationally
knows. Yes.
that was the big hit.
Our House.
Our House. Oh, I'm going to get all these messages from Madness fans now. But anyway, they're going to perform on the roof of Buckingham Palace.
It's going to be so exciting.
Isn't it?
Well, that's exactly what Brian May did during the Silver Jubilee when he performed, the Golden Jubilee, excuse me, when he performed on the roof, God Save the